Have you heard so much about VRA staking, but just have no freaking clue how to do it? Do you not really know what's going on with Veracity or what they're actually trying to do, but hear that there's so much potential and it's going to change the face of everything? Well, today you're going to learn all about VRA staking and all about the VRA ecosystem and Veracity and what is going on under the hood. So let's dive in. Now, this is a follow-up to the PYR staking video that I did. It seems a lot of people actually like these kinds of videos where we dig deeper into the staking mechanism and what's actually going on with the project. So if this is something that you want to see more of, please give some sort of like thumbs up or a comment or show some love to the video and let me know what you'd like to see the next deep dive into. And if there's enough desire from the community, then I'm happy to dive right in. Anyways, with that being said, let's dive into VRA staking and make sure that you know everything about VRA staking and the Veracity ecosystem. Let's do it. Okay, so an overview of Veracity. If we just go to their website, veracity.io, we will see that they do a whole lot of things. They're the new standard and they have like a bunch of things that keeps getting typed out and then deleted and typed out and deleted in a bunch of different words. And we're seeing that they're transforming the black box ad fraud industry. They have 500,000 community members and 300,000 Vera Wallet users and 20 plus local language communities and 6 awarded patents. And they're an open ledger ecosystem bringing trust and transparency to digital advertising payments. But what does that actually mean? We don't quite know yet because they actually don't do a good job of telling us what they're about. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper. Now, if we go down a little bit lower on the website, we see a semblance of products and a lot of very fancy logos right here. So they have their Vera wallet, which is insured, simple, and secure wallet to earn, buy, store, and stake VRA. Great. We want to talk about staking. We're going to get back to that later. But there's also this VeraViews situation, which is an open ledger advertising ecosystem built around Veracity's patented proof of view fraud identification technology. Again, what does that mean? That is not very descriptive. It's not really telling us what's going on. So we got to dive deeper. This is their white paper from 2022, I believe it was updated. They have language in there from 2021. I believe this is when they first hit 2022 and they were just kind of like trying to update things. They've been around for a few years. But this is what they say here, that it is a protocol and product layer platform for esports and video entertainment. Still not totally clear. Rapidly growing blockchain-enabled company across the ad tech, esports, and video entertainment industry. Okay, they're kind of describing it to us. They have patents secured in the U.S. and China for revolutionary proof of view technology, developing proprietary technology that helps eliminate ad fraud against video advertising channels. Okay, this is the clearest that we are hearing about it so far, that we're eliminating ad fraud. And it's already revenue generating project. Great. Growing ad revenue, several product verticals actively deployed and used by enterprise clients. Okay, that's again, the closest thing we get is we're eliminating ad fraud, and their mission is to significantly increase engagement and advertising revenues for video publishers on any video platform. Not super inspiring, I got to tell you, but this is what we got here so far, and they have now their VeraChain blockchain and their patented protocol layer and their Veracity ecosystem. And then we're like, wow, these are so many products and we're not even exactly sure what is going on here. So let's actually do our own deep dive and let's try to get a very basic understanding of what exactly they're trying to do. Because in my opinion, they don't do a great job of introducing us to themselves and helping us really understand what's going on under the hood. And in reality, they do have some cool stuff going on under the hood. So let's figure it out. So yeah, WTF is Veracity and VRA. Like, what actually is it? Let's start actually with the problem that they're solving. So this is very interesting. In 2022, the global market for digital advertising and marketing was about $531 billion. Now, according to researchermarkets.com, got to preface that by giving our source. Now, that market is forecast to grow at a compounded annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 13.9%. That's a huge huge amount of growth, and that will take it to about a 1.5 1500 billion or a 1.5 trillion dollar industry by 2030. So this is a big market, and Verasity is claiming that due to conservative estimates. So they're claiming that these estimates are conservative, but that 1 in 3 ads are seen by fake viewers like bots or click farms. And just to put this in perspective, according to, again, Verasity, $5.9 billion worth of crypto scammers in 2022. Depends when we count FTX, but yeah, we'll get let's just call it 10 billion. So they're saying that ad fraud scammers made that in less than a month. So that's actually a pretty big deal because they're saying nobody cares because it only affects brands. But if you think about it, if brands have to pay more for marketing to be able to sell their products, and they're selling it to us, they need to make a profit to run their businesses, right? That's just common, that's just very, very clear entrepreneurship. You have a product, you sell a product, you got to make a profit, or you're not in business, or you're just running a charity. So, be that as it may, businesses have to make profit. And so if they have to keep spending more on advertising, then they're going to have to drive up the prices, and that's going to affect us as the end consumer, and we don't want that. We obviously do not want to have to pay more money. We want to pay as little money as we can to get the things that we need, so we can save more, so that we can do whatever we want, go on vacation, invest it, whatever. So the fact that a bunch of the ads are being seen by fake viewers, like they're getting botted, or click farms are going and taking advantage of these, then that is making advertising more expensive because they now have to pay 33 and a third percent more to reach the same amount of people that they thought they were reaching before, right? If 1 out of 3 is fake, that means only 2/3 of their ads are going to real people. So if they think they're paying $100 to reach 3 people, they're actually only reaching 2 people. So they've got to spend another $33.33 repeating cents to get that last person. So it makes everything more expensive, which they will always pass on to us if they can, us being the consumer if they can. So this is actually a real problem, okay? And that makes this a lot more interesting. And so they are saying that they're going to solve this. Now, how are they going to solve this? Well, they have this thing called VeraViews, and that is their ad tech stack, which this is actually a relatively good description. They have an enterprise-grade anti-fraud solution developed by them, and they're using, now this is where it gets a little they don't exactly tell us how it works here, and it's pretty complicated if you start looking under the hood, but they're saying they use both off-chain and on-chain elements. I can tell you they're also using AI, and they're combining 13 separate modules to prevent ad fraud at its source, and they're ensuring that it's served exclusively to real users. So that we're going to need to dig more into, but that may be a little bit outside of the scope of this video of how exactly does their product prevent ad fraud. I can tell you from looking into this for more than 15 minutes. I'd say I've spent a couple hours looking into it. They have a relatively robust and sufficiently complicated description of how they're doing it, which makes me a little worried. Why can't you just simply explain what's going on? Maybe it's just beyond me, but I know they're using AI to figure this out, and they do have patents on it, and they do have case studies and use cases where they're claiming, like it shows here, about 97.5% accuracy rate, which that seems to be pretty good. So I would say you're gonna have to go do your own deep dive as to whether or not you believe in their technology and ability to prevent ad fraud at its source. I will say from what I've seen, it does look legitimate, but you're gonna have to go do your own deep dive on that. So they're saying that they use their solution to give advertisers a tamper-proof record of true ad served data, which is great. And so this results in faster payment times for publishers and higher ROI for advertisers. So for publishers, they want to get paid. They have the content, they have the traffic, they're trying to get paid for letting somebody advertise with them. And for the advertisers, they want to reach their audience who the publishers have, and so the advertisers are going to pay as their marketing budget, and they want to get back more. Just like an investment, you put out dollars today in hope of getting more dollars later. The same is true for advertising. You put out $1 in ads, you're hoping to get $2 and or more dollars back. Really, you're trying to get greater than $1 back, and then you can scale that. They're saying setup time about 5 minutes, so that's really good. And then they're saying they've processed 253 million impressions, so that's great. So that's showing that they have done this and they have stuck around for this long with that many impressions, which would lead me to believe that it is working and the people that are using it will continue to use it. There's also some other really good proof points as to why this technology is actually useful and working. And like I said, the 97.5% accuracy rate. So these are just, some of the cool icons they have. I'm a sucker for icons. I do love them when they're nicely made. They're very simple and they're very on brand. So that's why I liked to include them in this presentation. Anyways, so this is how they're solving it with their Veraviews ad tech stack. And they've created, and what they've patented is their proof of view, POV, which is their fraud identification technology. So they are using transparent invalid traffic tracking and some more buzzwords. But basically, this is what they're doing. They are trying to identify non-human users while the site's loading. They're going to gain more data about the viewers over time. Then they're going to use their AI to get smarter and to continue to make their ad tech better. And then they're going to store all of those results on their own chain, the Vera chain, like we talked about earlier. So that way it's transparent and auditable, and everything's very easy to see and to share and to trust in. But then they have a bunch of other products, right? So they have their Veraviews, proof of view, enterprise grade ad tech stack, this whole thing we just talked about. They also have Vera Esports. So obviously when it comes to esports drives a tremendous amount of traffic. And one of the leading revenue generators for the esports, and I should have pulled up a stat here, but one of the leading revenue generators for the esports industry is advertising and sponsorships. Esports gets a ton of traffic and a ton of viewers and a ton of people a ton of impressions and watch time. And so brands want to access these eyeballs. They want to advertise to the young people, and the young people are looking at esports. So Vera Esports is actually a really good idea because they're bringing their proof of view and their Veraviews technology, and they're now bringing that into esports. So they've created their own destination or platform with their Vera Esports product, and that is basically serving as a use case for their own technology, the Veraviews and proof of view. I will say they're going deeper by doing tournaments and whatnot, and that's kind of like an up-and-coming part of their business. They also have Vera Player, which is their own, again, proprietary. I really don't like when they say that, because that makes you think like, okay, well, why don't you just tell us what makes it different instead of saying it's proprietary? Because then you're like, it's like me saying that I'm creating a special video, but not telling you like why it's special. Like I'm telling you it's special, I'm not showing you it's special. I'd rather show you it's special. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't, in which case I can explain further. But basically, they have their own video player, which contains their technology built inside of it. And the cool part is that they actually have a partnership with Brightcove, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And so it's already deployed within their Vera Esports platform, but they also have a pretty big customer called Brightcove that they've deployed through, and that is their player, which allows them to really do all the things they need to do under the hood. Also, they have their Vera wallet. I'm not sure I'd call this a product. This is basically a wallet that they built so that you can just store and stake their VRA tokens. So, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a really powerful product. I could be wrong. They do have their own debit card called the Vera card that they just launched. Obviously, this screenshot was taken from a white paper that was in the past. So they have made some improvements and they've made progress since then. I think their Vera wallet has over 300,000 users, as we saw earlier, and their VRA staking option is down to about 15% as of the recording of this video. So If you notice, that trend is going down. I think they originally started at 36%. Then it was 18.25%. Now it's 15% per year. So it's kind of one of those things where if you don't get in early enough, it may not be worth it to stake for you. But right now it's a 15% staking, and that's pretty fantastic, especially if you believe in the underlying product and the underlying token, and you think there's going to be capital appreciation. You might as well stake it. It's in their wallet too. So then they have their Veraverse, which is their NFT marketplace under development. I don't know when this is going to go live. It still has not gone live, as to my knowledge, as of the recording of this. But this one's going to be really cool because they also say that they can use their, like it says here, it's also applied to NFTs. They can use their anti-fraud tech to, make sure that they're only valid views, which are being used on their own NFT marketplace. So not exactly sure why that's useful for NFTs. Maybe they want to track the number of views that have gone to NFTs so people can advertise for their NFT collections. We'll have to see. We'll learn more when this comes out. Then they have Watch and Earn. So this is really cool. Obviously, people always want to get something for nothing. So if you're already watching things and you want to basically get paid to watch things that you're already watching, then this is a good option for you. So they do have, like it says here, they can integrate already for these major video players when they're used on a publisher's domain. I have yet to find a place that, like, if I'm watching something on YouTube natively, I'm not earning from that. So the fact that it is integrated doesn't really help me that much because I'm on YouTube. So I'm not really benefiting from that. But once this kind of scales out and they figure out a way to like get more people into their whole ecosystem, when it comes to this, I actually think this could be a pretty big product. But we'll see. We'll see with this one. But they are a bit spread out. So, it's a little, it all makes sense when you kind of start with their proof of view and their anti-fraud solution. But I think you kind of want to see like, you want to see them focus more and really get a lot of traction with one thing and then expand. All of these things make sense when you take it in context of like what they're doing. So I just hope that they have enough resources and manpower to be able to pull off each of these different verticals within their greater ecosystem. So let's talk about traction. Like I mentioned, there are some really good proof points of what they're doing. One is Amazon ads. So I do not think Amazon would accept them as an ads partner if their solution was not legitimate. So this gives me a lot of trust in what they're building and their proof of view and their whole anti-fraud solution. This is really cool to me, and I really, really love that they nailed this partnership. This just gives so much legitimacy to what they're doing. It's made somebody like me, who's typically pretty skeptical, like, I would trust that Amazon has done enough due diligence to want to include them in their as part of one of their Amazon ads partner, even more so than my ability to truly at a very deep level understand exactly what's going on with their AI and their proprietary solution there, right? Now, is that enough to like bet your whole bet your whole net worth on that? No, you would probably want to know exactly what every part of this ecosystem is. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you can use other partnerships as a signal to lend legitimacy to something, and this is one of those times where it's like, okay, Amazon partnered with them, at least it's worth digging into more. Also, there's the IAB Global Vendor List. This is an advertising thing, which gives them a lot of legitimacy in the, like, I would say, legacy advertising world. So this looks good for like your incumbents in the advertising space, or like your bigger companies in the Web 2 world. This looks really good for them there. And then Brightcove, like I mentioned before, I believe Brightcove is a NASDAQ listed business. Double check me on that for sure. But they did partner with Brightcove. I believe Brightcove has about 3,000 customers in, I think, 70 countries or something. And so Verasity gets used a lot through the Brightcove player and the Brightcove marketplace. And so this has been like probably one of their biggest wins. They've really hung their hats on, and has brought them a lot of customers. Also, they've gotten mentioned in these publications for whatever that's worth. I know I can tell you personally, like I've gotten things published in Yahoo Finance. It's not tremendously difficult to get things published there as long as you have a good enough article and you have the right people that are mentioned in the article and the thing is newsworthy. You can actually go on to like ereleases.com, for example, and you can blast it out to like all of the different news sites, and you blast it out to a couple of big ones, and then they syndicate it out to each other, right? So don't be fooled just because they've been listed in some of these things. Like you can pay for articles in some of these, and if you know the right person, you can get into these publications. Now, they are still in these publications, right? So anything that's going to be successful, it will be in these publications. I'm just saying, don't use this as your only signal to be like, okay, this is a good project. They do have a sizable community. They're, Twitter 300K is definitely their biggest one, and they're claiming to have over 500,000 Veracity members. So let's keep going. Let's talk a little bit about the team. I promise we will get to staking in just a second, but this is just a screenshot from their white paper of kind of their five of their leaders here. They have their founder Mark or RJ Mark, and I went and grabbed a screenshot from his LinkedIn. I did that for all of them. Now he's been doing Veracity for almost 6 years now, and basically he looks like he's done a lot of like integrated video players. He's had an existing relationship with Brightcove, it seems like, for a while. Has been doing like broadcast and streaming for a while, and then was a CTO for a little while. So he's been in this game for quite a bit. His experience does go further back beyond 2010. I just couldn't fit it on the slide. So he seems like he's been doing this for quite a while, and seems like he's been kind of tinkering with the same idea and has now finally figured out the right vehicle to be able to execute it, which seems to be blockchain. David Archer, this is his legal. He's just been doing this stuff for a long time. So he seems pretty solid. Obviously, I have not dug into all of these different firms to go check on all this stuff, but when somebody's been an attorney for so long, they tend to pick things up. Let's talk about Robert Keogh. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Now, he is a rent-a CFO, at least at this point. So what some people will do is like they will basically be like a part-time CFO for a bunch of different businesses. He's obviously doing that through his own consulting company, but one of his major contracts, it seems like, is with Veracity, and it's probably his biggest client and what he majorly hangs his hat on. Now, he's been doing his own consulting for longer than he's been with Veracity, so he probably has other contracts, probably has other clients, and is not like, if he was all in, he'd be their CFO, right? But he's their consultant CFO, and he took the time to write that on his LinkedIn. So seems like he may value his independence. I don't know how all in he is, so that may be a potential red flag, but he has been with them for 5, close to 6 years. So he's probably a good friend of the founder, if I had to guess. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Sergey, their CTO, he was with RJ at the previous company, so he just came with him. So they've been working together for a while. You like to see that. You want to see people working together for a while and doing things consistently from project to project. So that means they did it successfully and they moved on to the next thing. He went from a team leader to a CTO, so it seems like RJ really knows, likes, and trusts him, and he's been seems like he's been a really valuable part of the team there. Then last one is Elena, and they do have more people, but these are just the main 5 that they mentioned, or the first 5 that they mentioned. Chief Product Officer. What I like is that she has a long list of experience doing product related roles, and she has just continued to go from place to place and seems like doing really good work. She went from a product advisor to full-time chief product officer. I really like that because it shows that she's been there for a while. She looked at it from the outside and she liked what she was seeing so much that she decided to go on full-time. And for somebody that's like being an advisor and kind of jumping from thing to thing to then go all in on something, there's got to be something pretty special there. I also just pulled from LinkedIn here. They do have a small thing on LinkedIn, but here they do have 45 employees on LinkedIn. So we know at a minimum they've got 45 employees. So that's a relatively big team, especially for a Web3 business. So this is a real business. I mean, these are real people. This is a real business. So as far as team goes, this kind of checks out. They are relatively older looking though, so that's kind of interesting. Maybe it takes a bit more of a mature team to pull off something like this, where they're really looking to tackle like a massive problem in a massive industry. Maybe that's what it takes. So it's interesting to kind of see, like, they're not like your normal younger Web3 founders, or like, your younger like tech people. It seems like these are some veterans that have been around the block, which, power to them, rock on. We love their experience. We love to see them in Web3. But what about VRA, right? Because we've been talking about the whole ecosystem, so let's actually talk about the token. So there are really 4 use cases that I've identified that are meaningful at this point in time. So they're funding their ad campaigns, and this is from their just literature I found online. But basically, like, they different users, like the brands, agencies, reps, whatever, they will have to purchase and then deposit VRA tokens to Vera Wallet, and then they use that in order to pay publishers and viewers. So essentially, the people that are looking to buy ads, instead of going to Facebook and buy ads, you go to Verasity and buy ads, and you have to buy ads using VRA tokens. So that creates, or use fiat, which is then converted to VRA. That creates initial buy pressure. But then you got to think, okay, well, if that's being paid to publishers and viewers in VRA, then eventually those people most likely are going to have to sell that VRA. So this creates a temporary demand and a temporary selling pressure. So it's buy pressure and it's sell pressure. Now you may argue, well, some of them will buy it and then they won't use it all. Okay. Some of them will buy it and they'll use it all, but then the publishers or the viewers are not going to sell it. Maybe. I don't know. But I do know that this is not like, this is a great use case, and no other token can be used in this way, which is very cool because they've built VRA to be crucial to their whole tech stack. But it doesn't prevent the sell pressure on the back end. So that's where I'm like, this is a good one, but it's not like the ultimate utility that nobody will ever sell. And like, this could create an equal amount of buy and sell pressure. Now, due to the friction between those two things, I would say you're probably going to be a net buy there, but still good to know. Now, they also have their Vera card. And with their Vera card, it's basically a Visa debit card that they've branded. And they're working with a group, I think it's called DAMEX. Double check me on that for sure. But you can basically directly spend your VRA. Now, again, this is something where I'm not necessarily sure that this is going to be like a long-term awesome thing for VRA. It's cool that you have your own card and you can spend your own tokens, but it's not necessarily going to create like permanent buy pressure without any equal and opposite sell pressure, or maybe not even opposite, but equal sell pressure. Because if you've got to, you create the buy pressure up front because you need the VRA to spend the VRA, but then the second you sell that, most people around the world that are going to accept that are not going to like keep VRA forever and hold it. Like, they need to pay their bills too. And I don't know how it exactly works with their debit card too, but like if you swipe the debit card and then you sell, like that is probably going to, like, they're probably just going to have to immediately turn that to fiat, which is just immediately creating sell pressure, and they're doing the selling themselves. So again, this is one where it's like, well, they may just get some VRA and then not spend it all. Okay, but you're still spending it and you're still creating sell pressure. So this is not like epic utility. It's good utility, but it's not like epic buy pressure to make number go up on the token, but it's cool utility. Now let's talk about the Veraverse NFT marketplace. Here they're saying we're planning to use VRA for minting and issuing NFTs, marketplace purchases, and for paying network fees. So this is actually really good. This is very good because when you're using VRA to mint, then that can immediately get burned. The team will probably burn that, or at least it goes to the team so they can make a good decision of what to do with it, and minting and issuing NFTs. So that's really good. Marketplace purchases, you need to be able to purchase it again. People are going to buy and sell using the VRA token. So the people that are receiving VRA in exchange for their NFTs, they are probably at some point going to sell that VRA. So don't count on that as permanent buy pressure, because there will probably be on the other side sell pressure as well. And then paying for network fees. So this leads me to believe that their NFT marketplace is going to run on VeraChain, which is their own chain, as we spoke about previously. And this is actually really good because they can use this, similar to when you're using the Ethereum network and you pay gas fees, they can have VRA be the gas token to pay for the network fees in order to execute transactions on the marketplace. They can take some of those transaction fees and they can burn them, or they can again send that to the team's wallet. And then, if you're interested in this, then you're trusting the team, and so you want those funds to go to the team because then they're making decisions and you trust them. So that works out. So I think this is really good. This creates buy pressure. Also, they have buyback and burn mechanics. They've just committed to this, and they've committed hard. I mean, they have used like 1.3 million of profit to buy back and burn VRA, which is a good sign because that's not all their profit. And so it has to be it can't be that meaningful to them as far as necessary to be able to keep the business alive, or else they wouldn't have burned it. We would hope. You never know, but we would hope. And so that means they're making way more than that, which means they've got some nice revenues coming in, or at least they're more than a 7-figure business, or, at least they're at the 7-figure business mark. Because if they're just burning all of their profits and they're not keeping any of those profits, that'd be a little concerning. But I don't know about any of that. What I do know is that they have burned about $1.3 million of VRA, which obviously brings the price up. Now, I wish they would have reinvested that into more salespeople, because more salespeople creating more relationships to create more people using the ad campaigns, like funding it for the brands and agencies, because you need both publishers and advertisers. I wish they would just get more salespeople and just go land more deals to get more publishers and more advertisers. But that's just me. This is still okay. Obviously, it's really good. A lot of people are going to like that. I think there was just like a bone they were throwing to the Web3 people. Hey, power to them. That's still good stuff. Okay, bro. But what about the staking? I know you're here for the staking. I just want to give you all the context so that this is literally the definitive guide to it. So we have a nice juicy stake here, which is going to be the staking. Let's talk about how to do it. It's actually super easy, which is why I kept it at the very end of this video. All you have to do to stake VRA is go to verawallet.io. You click this sign up button, or you just log in, and it brings you to this page right here. You put in your email address, you put in your password, or you create your account. A note: people in the US cannot do this, so simply toss on your VPN and find an address in Canada or some other place, and then, you can befriend a Canadian citizen or somebody not in the US, and you put in their address, and then voila, anybody in the world can use this. I'm not advocating for you doing that. I'm just saying, should you be inclined to do that, that is how you would want to do that. And so then you're still at verawallet.io, and then it'll take you to your wallets in your account. I pulled up a little demo wallet for you with some VRA in here. So you have your wallets, your account, your staking. You can just instant buy VRA and stake using this. You can do ETH, BTC, and I believe USDT. You can also just straight up deposit it. And if you just click main wallet, it'll bring up main wallet. You just click deposit, and it'll give you the deposit address, and you can buy it on Uniswap or whatever other decentralized exchange you're using. Or if at the time of watching this it's on a centralized exchange, you can do that too. So that is how all of that works. It is very, very easy to do that. The staking is guaranteed. They will pay you at the time of this 0.0411% per day, which roughly equates to about 15% per day in kind. So if you get it when it's very cheap, then obviously as it scales up, you get the benefit of capital appreciation on all of the VRA that you're compounding. So you want to buy as cheaply as possible, and then it compounds, and so you get the staking rewards and the compounded capital appreciation, and that just works out better for you. It's just buy it as cheaply as you can. So that's how all that works. It's very simple and it's very easy. Now, some final thoughts, and this video's been going on for pretty long, but let's talk about some positives and let's talk about some negatives. One, community loves this project. People go absolutely nuts about this. They go bonkers. They love the project. They want to see it succeed. We love that. That's a positive. Two, a negative. Token doesn't really have a tremendous amount of consistent buy pressure like we talked about. They do have the buybacks and burns, and they do have the temporary buys from the ad campaigns and the swipey card. But the NFT marketplace isn't out yet, and I don't know if the burns are going to be able to fully offset the sell pressure from the high staking rewards. So as of right now, that's a negative for me. And then again, consistent opportunity for sell pressure to high staking rewards, another negative. One thing I will say to kind of offset number 3 is that a lot of people that are going to stake, they're probably going to be your longer term people, because there is a 72-hour lockup when you unstake. And so that will immediately incentivize the people who are a little bit more long-term to want to stake. So you may not necessarily have everybody that's getting their staking rewards immediately market dumping, but that does create opportunity for additional sell pressure that they didn't have to pay for. So for them, it feels like free money. And so, when they dump, they may say, oh, I'll just dump all the tokens that I earned from staking, and then I'm playing on house money. Something like that. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to work for that money. They didn't have to put their own money in to get that. It got paid to them by staking, which took 4 clicks to accomplish. So they may just sell that. So just be wary that all of these staking rewards, it can come back to bite you because more tokens are being put out, and so therefore there are more tokens available to dump, and each individual token may be worth less. If the number of tokens increases and the amount of buy pressure does not increase, then the price of that token is going to go down. So just keep that in mind. But also, and this is probably the biggest thing, is that this project addresses actually a huge freaking business opportunity. And it's not there's so much potential type of thing that everybody seems to be talking about right now in crypto, but this is a serious industry. Advertising is one of the biggest ones in the whole wide world, and ad fraud is a very serious problem, as we talked about before. So there's a lot of room for growth here, which is very good, and that's a very big positive, because as the business succeeds, the token's going to succeed as well. The tokenomics are set up to where it's fine, and they're pretty aggressive in making updates and changes and being positive about that. So yeah, that's kind of it. I would say, of course, do your own research, but that's how you stake it. That's pretty much what you need to know about the VRA project. And I would say check out their different outlets. Like, they have a Medium where they publish a lot of good posts. Check out their Twitter. Check out whatever else is you need to know about it. But that is how you stake. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.